I usually cry in my car every single day when I drive to work. And I usually cry on my way home at some point. And then I take a deep breath and I go, all right.
What really happened between Pauley Perrette and Mark Harmon on NCIS? Behind the scenes of one of television's most beloved crime dramas, rumors of a bitter feud, shocking accusations, and a toxic work environment have quietly simmered for years. Fans who adored the chemistry between Abby Ciuto and Leroy Jethro Gibbs were stunned as the off-screen tension grew. From a dog bite incident to public social media storms and whispered threats, the story that unfolded was far darker and more complicated than anyone expected. But this is not just a tale of conflict. It's about power, fear, and breaking points inside a show that has shaped millions of lives. What really tore apart this cast? And why has Pauley vowed never to return? The truth is waiting to be uncovered. Pauley Perrette became a household name and beloved figure to millions as Abby Ciuto, the extraordinary forensic scientist on NCIS. For 15 seasons, from 2003 to 2018, she breathed life into Abby's quirky, gothic charm and unmatched intelligence. Abby was no ordinary crime show character. She was a caffeinated, tattooed, cheerful genius with a unique style that charmed fans and critics alike. Perrette's portrayal turned Abby into not just a fan favorite, but a crucial part of NCIS's success and long-lasting appeal. Before NCIS, Perrette's acting career was steady, but unspectacular. She appeared in small roles and guest spots on shows like Frasier and 24, as well as in films including The Ring and Almost Famous. But everything changed when she landed the role of Abby Ciuto, which originally appeared in 2 episodes of JAG before NCIS spun off. Almost immediately, her character's captivating blend of forensic brilliance and geeky personality caught the audience's attention, becoming a show staple. Pauley's dedication to faithfully playing Abby was clear. She embraced the character's contrasts, mixing gothic aesthetics with sunny optimism and brilliant forensic skills. Her portrayal made science cool and accessible, inspiring a generation of young viewers, especially girls, to take an interest in criminal justice and science. Abby's vibrant energy contributed heavily to the warmth of the NCIS cast chemistry, where every episode felt like watching a TV family. Abby Ciuto's role wasn't just a job for Pauley, it was a journey. She appeared in over 350 episodes during her tenure, earning several People's Choice Award nominations. Her impact stretched beyond the screen as she motivated fans worldwide with Abby's strength, intelligence, and kindness. While NCIS enjoyed stellar ratings, much of its heart and soul came through Pauley's unforgettable character, making her departure in 2018 all the more shocking for fans. Mark Harmon is much more than just the face of NCIS. He is the heart and driving force behind one of television's most successful and longest-running crime dramas. Since the show began in 2003, Harmon has portrayed Leroy Jethro Gibbs, the tough, no-nonsense special agent in charge of NCIS's major case response team. Gibbs is iconic, a man of few words, stern principles, but unmistakable loyalty and leadership. Mark Harmon's portrayal brings a mixture of strength, discipline, and hidden warmth, qualities that have anchored the show's appeal to millions. Over nearly 20 years, Gibbs became one of TV's most beloved characters. But Harmon's role on NCIS extends far beyond acting. He also serves as an executive producer, a position that gives him significant influence over the creative direction of the show. This means Harmon not only controls how his character develops, but he also has a say in major storylines, cast changes, and behind-the-scenes decisions. His dual role makes him one of the most powerful figures in the NCIS world. Harmon's leadership on set is well known. Described as serious and sometimes intimidating, Harmon enforces a high standard of professionalism and performance. Several cast members have noted his commanding presence and how his approval matters deeply. In many ways, Harmon functions as a gatekeeper, his influence guiding the show's tone, quality, and work environment. Through his executive producer duties, he has shaped NCIS's blend of suspense, humor, and drama, helping it maintain a consistent style that balances gripping crime-solving plots with character-driven moments. Harmon's private nature means he rarely speaks publicly about disputes or tensions on set, but those close to the show say the power dynamics are clear. His influence keeps control firmly in his hands, which, while stabilizing for the production, sometimes contributes to an atmosphere where disagreements exist beneath the surface. These unseen tensions affect relationships among cast and crew, though fans only see the polished final product. Harmon's presence commands respect, but it also means that the set environment can be complicated. In short, Mark Harmon's role is critical, not just to NCIS's success on screen, but to how the show functions behind the scenes. As both star and executive producer, he has shaped its legacy, but also holds significant responsibility for the atmosphere where cast tensions, including the now public feud with Pauley Perrette, played out. The beginning of the well-known rift between Pauley Perrette and Mark Harmon reportedly started with a serious incident involving Harmon's dog, Dave, back in 2016. Dave was a rescue dog Harmon regularly brought to work on the set of NCIS. For years, Dave was a familiar figure around the studio, but it was also known that the dog was not fully trained and could sometimes be moody or unpredictable. Everyone on set tolerated Dave's presence because he was part of the environment, mostly kept close to Harmon's trailer during filming. However, the situation took a dark and dangerous turn when Dave bit a crew member on the face. The bite was severe, requiring approximately 15 stitches near the crew member's eye, a frightening injury that understandably alarmed the cast and crew. Safety concerns quickly arose, especially from Pauley Perrette, who was deeply worried about the risks posed by having the dog around the set. She couldn't ignore the danger anymore. Perrette took her concerns to the production team and executives. She argued passionately that allowing an untrained dog on set created a hazardous environment for everyone, from actors to crew members. Her insistence on the matter reflected a growing unease that safety was being overlooked. Despite the valid concerns, after a brief period, Dave was brought back onto the set. Mark Harmon was reportedly adamant about having his dog with him, resisting the idea that Dave should be permanently barred. Although the dog was mainly confined to his trailer, his presence continued to create tension and discomfort, especially for Perrette. This moment not only fueled rising frustration, but also magnified the underlying power struggle between the two, even if unspoken. The animosity intensified to the point that the studio needed to intervene to prevent open conflict. To ease the strained relationship, filming schedules were reportedly arranged so Pauley Perrette and Mark Harmon rarely shared the same space on set. Scenes that once showed the strong bond between their characters, Abby Suto and Leroy Jethro Gibbs, became increasingly scarce, and sometimes were replaced by phone calls or shots filmed separately. Fans and viewers noticed the change, sensing a shift behind the scenes as the physical and emotional distance between the two stars grew. But this dog bite incident was far more than an unfortunate accident. It became a symbol of the growing divide between Perrette and Harmon, a flashpoint representing the friction beneath the surface. Pauley felt that her safety concerns were dismissed by those in charge. Meanwhile, Mark Harmon's steadfast defense of his dog highlighted his authority and refusal to back down, reflecting the complex power dynamics at play. This moment marked a turning point, a breaking point that foreshadowed a series of worsening conflicts and public accusations. What started as a disagreement over safety would soon spiral into a full-fledged feud, with personal grievances and professional disagreements layered tightly together. The dog bite incident was the spark in a story that turned out to be much darker and more complicated than anyone could have imagined. After the dog bite incident and the growing tensions on the NCIS set, Pauley Perrette began to use social media, especially Twitter, as her platform to speak out. Over time, her posts grew more serious and alarming. Though she never named anyone directly, Pauley hinted multiple times at feeling unsafe while working on the show. She mentioned frightening experiences and threats to her personal safety that shocked fans and the entertainment industry alike. One of the most talked about posts was when Pauley stated she had been subjected to repeated physical assaults while working on NCIS. She described these attacks as unreportable and implied that the people responsible were protected by those in power. The vague nature of her tweets left fans and followers speculating about who was involved and what exactly had happened. Many wondered if these posts were related to Mark Harmon or other members of the crew, but Pauley never fully clarified. Despite the seriousness of these accusations, Pauley also showed moments of frustration with the lack of support or action from network executives and studio officials. Her tweets suggested that concerns she raised earlier, especially around the dog bite and her feeling unsafe, were ignored or minimized. She also spoke about feeling silenced and censored, adding to the narrative of a toxic work environment. Fans of NCIS and followers of Pauley's social media accounts were captivated and concerned. The vague posts triggered a flurry of discussions across fan communities, entertainment news outlets, and social platforms. Yet many of these tweets were later deleted or removed, adding an air of mystery and leaving audiences with more questions than answers. Pauley's use of social media to air grievances also became a point of contention in itself. Some supporters believed she was bravely speaking the truth and exposing a hidden reality. Others thought her vague posts could have been handled more privately or professionally. Regardless of opinion, these public messages brought the private dispute into the spotlight like never before, increasing pressure on NCIS, CBS, and the individuals involved. This digital storm marked a new phase in the feud, one where the battle spilled into public view, amplifying tensions and complicating relationships further. It was no longer just a matter of personal disagreements on set. It was now a widely discussed controversy affecting reputations and raising tough questions about power, safety, and respect in the entertainment industry. As Pauley Perrette's social media posts intensified and rumors about the toxic atmosphere on the NCIS set grew louder, CBS, the network behind the hit show, felt the pressure to respond publicly. The network released official statements, assuring the public that Perrette's concerns were taken seriously. In their words, CBS emphasized a commitment to a safe and respectful workplace for all cast and crew members. They highlighted the steps they had taken to investigate the allegations and implement policies aimed at protecting those on set. While CBS expressed support for Perrette's right to speak about her experiences, they also underscored the importance of due process and respecting confidentiality. The network was keen to balance the need for transparency with respect for all parties involved, hinting at the complexity behind the scenes. Throughout the controversy, Mark Harmon remained largely silent in public. Unlike Perrette, who chose to use social media as her megaphone, Harmon rarely addressed the accusations or the feud openly. His silence was interpreted in various ways. Some viewed it as a dignified choice to avoid fueling the fire, while others saw it as evasive or dismissive. Insiders suggested that Harmon focused on his responsibilities as both lead actor and executive producer, working behind the scenes to maintain stability on the show. His public quietness contrasted sharply with Perrette's vocal stance, further highlighting the divide between the two stars. Some believed this silence was deliberate, a strategic decision to protect his reputation and that of the show, while navigating the difficult issue privately. CBS's official stance and Harmon's silence did little to quell the public's curiosity and speculation. The gap between what was said officially and what was felt personally created a murky atmosphere, leaving fans and media outlets hungry for answers. The network's assurances were often met with skepticism, while Harmon's lack of comment left many questions unanswered. This phase of the conflict revealed a critical tension within the entertainment industry between public accountability and private resolution. It illustrated how power, image, and legal considerations play crucial roles when controversies erupt, especially around beloved shows with massive audiences. After years of simmering tensions, Pauley Perrette made the difficult decision to leave NCIS in 2018. Her exit marked the end of an era for the show, as Abby Sciuto had been a beloved character for 15 seasons. The announcement came as a shock to many fans who had grown attached to Abby's unique mix of quirky charm, brilliant forensic skills, and heartfelt warmth. But for Pauley, Leaving was necessary. She cited a toxic work environment and concerns for her safety as key reasons behind her departure. Pauley's farewell episode was noticeably different from typical goodbyes on NCIS. Unlike many character exits that feature emotional send-offs and final scenes with close colleagues, Abby's departure was handled with some distance. Notably, there was no major farewell scene between Abby and Mark Harmon's Leroy Jethro Gibbs, the character she had shared the most significant on-screen relationship with. This absence spoke volumes about the off-screen reality that had unfolded, where tensions translated into fractured relationships. After leaving the show, Pauley took a significant step back from the world of acting altogether. She openly stated that she no longer felt safe or comfortable in the industry, which she described as having dark elements and being more about business politics than art. For Pauley, authenticity and personal well-being became priorities over continuing acting in an environment where she felt compromised. While she has occasionally taken on new projects, Pauley Perrette's time on NCIS remains the pinnacle of her career. Her portrayal of Abby Ciuto left an indelible mark on television fandoms and set a new standard for female characters in crime dramas, combining intelligence, kindness, and individuality in a way rarely seen. Her exit also raised important conversations about workplace environment, power imbalance, and safety in the entertainment industry. Pauley's willingness to speak out helped shed light on often hidden struggles actors can face, particularly women in high-profile roles. Despite all that unfolded, Abby Ciuto's legacy continues to inspire. She remains one of NCIS's most iconic characters, remembered for making forensic science cool, fun, and relatable. But Pauley's departure and the story behind it remind us that behind the glitz and glamour lies a complex world where personal and professional battles shape careers and lives. The feud between Pauley Perrette and Mark Harmon had a profound impact on both fans and the future of NCIS. For more than a decade and a half, millions of viewers grew to love the dynamic between Mark Harmon's Leroy Jethro Gibbs and Pauley's Abby Ciuto. They were like family to audiences, centerpieces of a show that blended crime-solving with warmth and humor. So when rumors of tension and distance between the two spilled into the public, many fans felt a deep sense of disappointment and division. Some fans found themselves torn. They wanted to support Pauley's bravery for speaking out about her experiences, but they also cherished Mark Harmon as the unshakable core of the show. Online discussions and fan forums buzzed with speculation, debates, and sadness. The knowledge that the show's legendary chemistry was strained behind the scenes left a bittersweet taste. Despite the drama, NCIS remained strong. Mark Harmon continued as both lead actor and executive producer, steering the show through new seasons and changes. The show maintained its ratings and fan base, proving its resilience beyond the personal feuds that affected its cast. New stories, new characters, and fresh energy kept NCIS relevant and beloved. Meanwhile, Pauley Perrette moved on to new projects, focusing on her personal well-being away from the spotlight. She announced her retirement from acting, citing the need to preserve her safety and authenticity. For her, leaving was a necessary step for health and peace, even if it meant walking away from a role that defined her career. Over time, there have been hopes among fans for reconciliation between the two stars. Some dream of reunions, whether on screen or off, imagining a moment when old wounds would heal and friendships might be restored. However, Pauley Perrette has been clear that she has no intention of returning to NCIS or reuniting professionally with Harmon. The rift may remain for years to come. The story of Pauley and Mark reminds us that even the most beloved shows and stars can face real human conflicts that change the course of careers and personal lives. Fans are left celebrating the memories while acknowledging that sometimes, behind the scenes, the toughest battles are the ones no script can fix. The story behind NCIS is not just about crime-solving and teamwork on screen, it's also a complicated mix of friendship, power, and conflict behind the scenes. The feud between Pauley Perrette and Mark Harmon exposes a hidden world where personal battles, authority struggles, and safety concerns shape the lives of those who work on long-running shows. While fans see perfectly polished episodes and compelling characters, much of what happens off-camera remains unseen. Their story asks us to consider important questions. How much tension and pain hide behind the smiles and performances? What sacrifices do actors and crew make to keep the show running? And what is the real cost when power dynamics go unchecked in a high-pressure environment? As viewers and fans of entertainment, we should reflect on loyalty, respect, and safety, values that must be protected not just in fiction, but in the real world. Pauley Perrette's journey reminds us there is often more beneath the surface. If this video gave you new insight into the hidden battles of NCIS, please like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more revealing stories from your favorite shows. Your support helps keep these stories alive and brings truth to light.